I have a lot to say. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Catherine from Evergreen Era Film and Photo, and I help couples who dread the idea of a traditional big wedding with its stressful expectations plan, film, and photograph an elopement day that is true to who they are with a little bit of adventure added in there. If you didn't know, I hike a lot for my elopement days, and that's kind of a weird thing. I think a lot of people are new to the idea of hiking and doing adventurous style sports and activities during an elopement day, but it's becoming a little bit more popular. If you're like me and someone who just really enjoys being in the out of doors, it's particularly where I feel the most alive and the most connected with the people that I'm with. There's something about the unknown of the weather and what you're going to see, and of course just the general beauty of Mother Nature that is just unparalleled to any other experience. If you also just generally enjoy hiking, which, you know, it's one of the best ways to get to some really beautiful views and potentially a little bit of privacy for an elopement day, particularly if you're wanting to elope on public land. Of course, you can always get a private venue, but it's just not the same as it is when you're just out in the wilderness. So if you like hiking like me, you might want to consider having a hiking elopement. But if you want to do that, there are going to be a few things that you really need to plan for and to consider to plan your dream hiking elopement day. So that's what I'm going to walk you through today to help you see if a hiking elopement is a good fit for you and to walk you through the steps if that's what you want. The first step when it comes to planning your hiking elopement is going to be deciding how far you want to hike. One of the best ways to do this is to think about all the hikes you've done in the past. What is the longest hike that you've done? Did you enjoy that, or was it too far? I would never recommend going on a hike longer than you've ever done before for your wedding day. It's a bit much. You're already likely going to be a bit uncomfortable in your wedding clothes more than you would be in full-on hiking attire. So definitely keeping it under the level that you are fully comfortable with is key. Keep in mind that the farther distance you choose, the more likely you're gonna be to get away from crowds. So if you want just like a really short 1 mile type hike, it's gonna be likely that there will be a lot more people there with you than if you're choosing a 3-4 mile hike or more. Sometimes even just the difference between a 1 and a 2 mile hike makes a really big difference in the amount of people that are there. Of course, distance isn't the only thing you're going to want to consider. You're also going to want to think about elevation gain and what the terrain is like, because those things can make a very big difference in what your hike experience will be. If there's a lot of elevation gain and very difficult rock scrambles, that might not be ideal for your elopement day, or it might be, depending on how adventurous you are. But of course, it might be a bit harder than a more flat, easygoing trail. Once you nail down on how long you want your hike to be, and if you're okay with certain elevation gain or terrain, then you're gonna wanna pick that trail. This is all going to depend on where you want to elope and get married. So you'll have to do a bit of that research on your own. There's a whole nother video I have about how to plan your elopement that will kind of walk you through the best ways to do that. But once you've nailed down an area, then you can pick your trail based upon distance, elevation gain, terrain, how difficult it is. You'll want to see if you then need a permit for having a wedding ceremony at that location or having photo or video taken of you at that location. Therefore, you'll need to figure out and research what public land municipality that trail is on, and then research, Google search, see if there's information online, or just give an email or call to the ranger, the proper person, to see if there's a permit for anything for a wedding at that location. You'll also want to see if there are any other restrictions for that trail or that location based on group size, if you're allowed to have any props or not, if you're allowed to have live florals, etc. The third thing that you might want to consider for planning this dream hiking elopement is to save the marriage legalities for another time. So pretty much what that means is getting married legally at a local courthouse or even a courthouse nearby this location that you've chosen for your hike. But to do that in an easy, simple way where you can have the proper regulations covered, such as needing an officiant or needing multiple people as witnesses. Those regulations vary state to state, so it depends on where you're getting married of what you'll need to do. But if you just decide to do that at another time, in another way, it's going to free you up to have this big hike with just you and your partner or a few friends who are also able to do this with you, or family members. And that way you can keep your group a bit smaller, a bit more intimate, and it helps you just focus on the experience instead of having to, bring all these people along with you and make it official right there. A lot of my couples actually spend their hike portion of their day and their experience, just the two of them. They might share personal vows at that point. And then if they want to include family or friends later, they'll do that at a very easily accessible location so that it's not difficult for them to get there. Same for the officiant, and they have their witnesses if they need that. And so they do both of those things in the same day. If you're getting married in a state where you don't need any of that, like Colorado, you're pretty much free to do whatever. So the choice is yours, but just make sure you research that location. The next step, and this isn't a requirement, I have done elopement days that don't include sunrise or sunset, but most of mine do because of the ooey gooey, beautiful, warm, golden light that typically happens at those times of day. I'm a photographer and a videographer. I really love beautiful light, and so that's one reason that I really love those times of day, and I want you to have the most beautiful photo and film that you can have. Of course, things will affect this, such as weather. If it's a foggy day, you might not get golden light because there's no sun coming out. But you might get some beautiful light, and that would be amazing. Sunrise is a bit tough for people, but worth it if you're really trying to avoid crowds, because not many people are willing to get up very early to go onto a trail before the sun comes up. Sunset is also a great option if you're just not a morning person, not loving that idea, but still want the option for beautiful light. You can kind of shift your hike time to get to the peak or the view during that beautiful sunset time. Step number 5, we are halfway there, y'all. And this is just picking a photographer or videographer that can do the hike with you. This is something that might slip your mind. You might just think, oh, we need to hire a photographer or a videographer, and pick one based upon their photos and what you like from their work. But that's actually not the best way to go about it. You're gonna really wanna find somebody who has beautiful work that you like, but also has experience hiking, because it's a very different world for a photographer to carry gear that will work in the middle of the elements no matter the weather, and also can carry the weight of all of the gear up a mountain, and also is prepared for what can happen in the woods. So I particularly carry a med kit, and wilderness first aid certified, and just have experience being in the woods and know what to do when certain situations arise. So make sure you pick a photographer who is prepared for a hiking outdoor adventure with you. It really will make all the difference. Step number 6 is decide if you are going to do your own hair and makeup, or if you need to hire vendors who have experience with hiking elopement. For vendors with that, I mean hair and makeup artists who are going to do that for you and know how to use makeup and put your hair up in a way that will keep it kind of put together and will deal with sweat and things like that. I've had couples do different things for this, so it's totally up to you and what your comfort level is. You can wear no makeup for a portion of the hike and do it when you reach the top. You can have a makeup and hair artist come to your rental or your house at 2 a.m. to do your hair and makeup, and you'll be prepared for the rest of the day. Or you can just do your own makeup when you get up in the morning and just be easy peasy ready to go. That's totally up to you, but just consider those different options when you're thinking about having a hiking elopement and how you want to get your hair and makeup done, if you want it done at all. Step number 7 is definitely wear comfortable clothes and dress for the weather. So comfort is key for elopement days. I say this to everyone that I work with and all of you, because I want you to have a happy elopement day. And if you are not comfortable, you will not be happy. You won't be able to be settling into the moment with your partner. And that is really the most important. That's the reason why you're there, right? To have that experience with your partner in nature, and you want to be as comfortable as possible. So wear comfortable shoes, wear them in if you get new shoes, boots are my top tip. Just get some cute boots or some regular hiking boots that have history. If it's cold out, you're gonna need to layer up. I provide my couples with packing lists and things to help you really be prepared for what that's gonna require, but wearing comfortable things is going to be key. You might be saying, well, what about my wedding clothes? That kind of rolls into that too. Pick wedding clothes, dresses, suits, anything that you want to wear that is stretchy, that you can squat and move around in, because you're gonna have a much more fun time if you can just let go and enjoy the moment. Tip number 8, we are almost there. You're gonna wanna pack like it's a normal hike. You need to pack all the same things plus a little bit more. So you're gonna need to pack water and snacks and any medications you might need, toilet paper, all of those good things. Sunscreen, you know, it really depends on your location, but you're just gonna wanna pack all that stuff that you would need on a regular hike, because it is a hike, you're just getting married. So then of course you'll also need to pack things like your vow books if you're going to share them during your hike, any of your flowers, your rings, any of that extra stuff. Pack it all in there. Extra tip here, use a backpack that is visually beautiful and interesting and maybe matches your wedding colors if you've chosen those, because you're gonna have photo and video taken of the backpacks and in the backpacks a lot, and so it adds to, you know, the vibe of your final product photo and video. Tip number 9, this is just part of having an outdoor elopement day, accepting that you can't control the weather, and just be flexible and open to whatever the day gives you. One of the most beautiful things about eloping in the out of doors is the experience that you get to have with your partner to begin your marriage together. It's such a good example of just going with the flow, embracing what life gives you, you know, enjoying the world for what it is. And so doing that with the weather of your day is key. It might be foggy, it might rain, you might have to change plans due to a thunderstorm. So I just encourage you to focus continually from the beginning of, you know, your elopement planning all the way through your elopement day. Just remind yourself of what's important and stay focused on what is valuable to you in that day. And that's really just your relationship and celebrating that and having a new adventure and just having fun. Also remember that as long as it's safe, some of the worst weather can be some of the most beautiful weather for photo and video, because it's moody, it's unique, it's different. You know, it's what that specific day and moment has given you. So just be prepared really for all the different options with different layers of clothing you might need, rain jackets, umbrellas. As long as you've got what you need and you're good to go, you can just embrace what comes fully and just enjoy that. Last tip number 10, we did it. I'm so glad you came along this journey with me of walking you through this hiking elopement dream hiking elopement process. And that rolls into my last tip, which is enjoy the journey and just take your time. So I actually only film and photograph 4+ hour elopement days, 4 hours up to 10 hours. And I do that because your elopement day deserves so much time for you to settle into each moment, to enjoy it, to not feel rushed like a lot of big wedding days can be. You get to just sit there, and if you're enjoying watching the stars or the sunset or snuggled up with your partner at breakfast during a picnic, you can do that. You can just sit there and be and relax. We don't get that chance enough in life, it seems. So this is your chance to do that. Plus, hiking takes time. So you are gonna wanna give yourself a lot more time than you would on a regular day hike, because we're gonna wanna stop and enjoy things. So I typically calculate in 1 hour per mile for time for a hiking elopement. So I don't think you're gonna be able to rush out and back for a hiking elopement. It's just gonna take some time. You wanna stop and listen to the birds and look at that cool mushroom and, you know, rub that beautiful moss on the tree, right? You know, you don't wanna rush it. And just as a last little bonus tip, if all you're doing is having a hiking elopement, that is incredible, but it might be nice to add in a little something fun and personalized in there for you, whether that's reading a chapter of your favorite book or sharing gifts that you've gotten each other. Maybe you love drawing, so maybe you draw each other on your elopement day. Whatever that is, include that in your hiking elopement, make it personalized and fun and true to you. You've got this. I'm so excited that you're gonna be true to yourself. Have the elopement day of your dreams. You deserve it. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and I'll see you in the next video.